Hey, yo,
Or did you start
guys,
already?
girls, and everyone in between. This is Rebellious Pastry here, and we just started, yes. Alrighty. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go over some announcements. Sorry this is a day early. I, tomorrow I'm going home for IRL obligations, so this is why this is a day early. And as soon as another IRL obligation is over, I might switch over all of my streams to Wednesdays, depending on how things go. And yeah, so I hope you guys recognize this person from a video, a really well made video. But um, so I already know the answer to this, and the people who have been watching forever and a half probably already knows this. But what is your name and pronouns?
Hey, Donut Batch. I'm Mama Pastry. My pronouns are she, her,
She, her.
and mom.
Mom. Mom's not a pronoun. Mom's just a title. But yeah. So, like I said in pre-stream, I'm gonna ask you some questions, and then my fan base is gonna ask you some questions. Um, so I already asked you the first question. But yeah, um, so what is your hobby?
Well, I don't have that many hobbies,
You
but one of
hopped
the
on. Wait, oh, just for verification, you were on here for jam making. I just wanted to double check. I just wanted to tell you that.
Oh, I know. I was going to be funny about it, but yes,
Oh man.
I am very well known for making jam. It's a good hobby of mine.
Yes, it
It's my
is.
it's actually my jam.
Oh wow. Uh, I have a feeling by the end of this episode, um, the donut batch probably will figure out where I got half of my personality from.
Just the
So,
good half.
how did you find jam making as a hobby?
Well, that's a really long story. How much time do I have?
Hmm. You have until 6:35.
All right. Well, I was brought up in a Mennonite family. Um, my mom's oldest of 10 kids. So when you have a lot of kids and you live in the country and have fruit trees, some kind of canning is going to happen. So I learned from my grandmother how to make jam from the fruit trees. We had plums and cherries and strawberry rhubarb. They're different, by the way. They're two different plants.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Rhubarb is like a type of celery thing, I think.
Yeah, it kind of looks like celery. It's like a kind of a pinkish celery stalk, but the leaves are poisonous, so you have to be really careful not to poison someone the first time you're making rhubarb jam.
That seems kind of silly, but I know what you mean. Um,
Luckily, I was taught how to not poison people by making jam correctly.
yeah. It's very important to make jam correctly. So, um, how much does it cost?
Oh, depends if the fruit is for free or if you buy it. So I'm going to say, let's say you have fruit trees or a farm or your neighbor has fruit trees and they're nice to you. Um, Probably maybe $30, and that's the jars and the sugar.
All right. So, on average, like if someone were to go ahead and think, "Oh, I'm going to go ahead and do this." Just like let's say just from start to finish price.
I would say save $50 for all the jam making because you need the equipment. you need the ingredients.
The equipment
I think
also counts in the cost too.
okay. So you don't have to use a canner, so I'm not counting that um, in the cost because that's another $20.
So just give me an estimate.
$50 to $70.
And you kind of answered this, but I want to make sure that it's clear. But is it a one cost hobby, or is it something you keep on paying for?
It's both. Each jam batch costs its own amount of money, but once you buy the jars and the canner, then that you don't have to buy again.
So you're saying that one cost equipment, but continue cost for like ingredients?
Roger Dodger.
Do you make money off of this?
I haven't. I give my jam away to friends and family.
I honestly still have a jar in my fridge.
Which kind?
The kind you gave me.
It was a test.
I think it's triple berry.
Yes. Always a good choice.
Yeah. And then just a donut batch announcement. You guys feel free to answer questions or not answer, ask questions at any time, and we'll go ahead and go through all of them at the end. Just please make sure you go ahead and put a donut after your question so that we know that you're talking to us and not each other. Thank you. But so you say you do not make any money off of it. Could you? Is the question.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I could sell jam at a craft fair or maybe online and make some money.
Online. Alrighty. So this is just a general this is for like most generally other hobbies. So I'm gonna change this question kind of a bit. What it says on my sheet is how many hours a week do you typically spend on or with it? But since you don't do this every week, I'm going to say, cumulatively, how much time do you spend per batch of jam?
I would say 4 hours. That's including getting the berries that I need for making the jam, cutting the berries, measuring everything, cooking it, and putting it in the canner at the end.
That's fair. And then, how has jam making helped you?
I have a lot of friends, especially around Christmas when they know I give out jam.
Oh man, can you really call them friends? Just kidding. I know your friends, or some of them at least. But yeah, it helps you. But yeah, is that the only thing it helps you with?
No, it also is relaxing. I actually weirdly feel relaxed when I'm making jam. And I also have that sense of happiness when I find that my family is happy that I made new jam. They're excited.
Oh man, I am excited too. I'm definitely gonna need more when I go ahead and go back to this IRL obligation I have. But yeah, what are the downsides of making jam?
Sometimes, yeah, it's burning yourself is number one. But when you're cooking the adding the sugar into the berries and you're cooking it on the stove, it you have to boil it and boiling it sometimes can, jump out of the pan and it can get on the stove and get stuck or burn your mom
Burn your mom.
or yeah, burn your mom, burn your dog, burn, it's
Oh
sticky too.
no. Oh no. Please do not burn my rebel donut.
Yeah.
Even though she is dumb and wants to go ahead and go in the kitchen while you're cooking.
Yeah. Oh, I
we
guess I guess it uniquely with the Rebel Donut situation, another potential downside could be dog hair stuck in the jam.
Oh man. Hopefully not. Hopefully not in the jam you sell, if you ever sell
No,
it.
no, I was kind of like a poor joke, but I do a visual inspection
Eh,
before I put the lid on. I make sure that there's no whatever, that everything's clean, and before I make the jam. I mean, before I put the lid on and finish canning it.
yeah, that's understandable. Um, here's something that I thought you would say, but you did not say for some reason. Do you want to
What?
guess or
What?
do you want me to tell you what I was expecting you
Um,
to say, but you didn't?
I'm gonna guess that thought that I would say it's expensive.
No. I'm kind of disappointed that you did not say this.
It's a lot
But,
of pressure.
um, a messy kitchen.
Oh, well, that happens anyway.
You didn't. I seriously thought you were gonna say messy kitchen. The first thing you said about that question.
Well, I think that makes sense. I think burning yourself and having a messy kitchen are the top two hazards of um, jam making.
So, is there any other downsides, or would you like to be, would you like the next question?
I'll take the next question, please, Alex, for 500.
Oh, that's kind of funny. But, would you recommend it to others?
Oh yeah, I would absolutely recommend it. It's fun and it's productive, and at the end of the day, you have a jam that you can eat or share with others.
That's it for the preset questions. Now, my question for you is I know this might depend on the person, but is it better to make jam with others or make it by yourself?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I prefer to make it by myself because I've been doing it for a really long time, so it's easy and I can get it done faster. So if I'm making a lot of jam, it's better to make it by myself and then I get it done. But it is fun to have friends and other people and show them the fun it is, the joy of jam making. So that's been fun, the times that I've shown people how to do it.
So, in general, you say for product purposes, you'd
Yes.
like to do it by yourself. And then,
Yes.
for enjoyment purposes, you would rather teach others.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
That's fair. I'm just wanting to make sure that the people who watch this after the fact can also understand what we're saying too.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah. And then um. Alrighty. Because my donut batch did not put donuts after their stuff, I have to go ahead and distinguish what's a question, what's not. What fun that is. But we're here to go ahead and interview you about your hobby, not me telling my fans how it is. But um I'm gonna start with um Hmm. What's a question and what's not? Okay. My fan by the name of Lorenzo asks, is making jam cheaper in the long run, or is it cheaper to buy it from the store?
That's a great question. In general, it's probably cheaper to buy it from a store, but the quality isn't as good. If
So,
you wanted if you wanted to buy homemade jam, like at a farmer's market, it's probably cheaper to make it yourself.
and then, um, Mighty Geek Studios asks, what is your favorite jam to make?
Um, my favorite is peach.
But yeah, so why is your favorite peach?
I don't have to um I don't have to dice the peaches. I can tell you how I make the why I don't have to dice the peaches if you guys want to know.
Hmm. Apparent. How is it that you don't have to dice the peaches? I would have thought you had to.
Well, you could, or a lot of people do, but what I do is I don't want the peach fuzz in the jam. So I boil water and then I put the peaches in a glass bowl and then I pour some boiled water over it and let it sit for like 5 minutes. And then all the peach fuzz skin falls right off. And then I cut the peaches in half and or quarters, usually quarters. And then I get rid of the pit and then I add the sugar. And peaches have a lot of juice, so when it's in the pan, they dissolve pretty quick. And then you have some chunks of peach left over in your jam.
That's understandable. Now I have kind of a I'm this is going to be kind of a like a silly question, but I'm going to ask how this is going to be kind of like a kind of slam, kind of not, but how much approximately how much in cost of berries do you lose because people eat them before you make jam out of them on average?
Oh, that's a good question. It depends on how long they're in the fridge before I make the jam, but probably I have a 20% loss rate in the berries disappearing into people's mouths.
But yeah, um disappearing into people's mouths.
Not a donut though. Rebel Donut doesn't eat berries. I've tried.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. But so you say that um your favorite jam to make is peach because it's the easiest?
I like peach too. It's not so much. I mean, it's easy, but I also really really like the peach. So it's probably my favorite for those two reasons.
All right, so I'm gonna go back to asking questions, and even though that how much fruit is lost question was mine, but um, what can go wrong with a batch of jam?
Oh, a lot of things. The first thing is if you don't make it correctly, meaning um, you don't cook it long enough, you don't put enough sugar, it cannot set. So then it's not thick. Um, so that's one thing that can go wrong. Another thing is you can, if you don't seal it correctly, there's this bacteria called botulinum. It's a toxin, and it can make people really sick.
Botulinum. That sounds like something that would be a part of the next TikTok challenge.
Oh gosh, let's not even go there.
Okay, I'm just saying. But so Yeah. This is YouTube, not TikTok. There's a reason of why Rebellious Pastry is a YouTube channel, but that's beside the point. So, Desktop Drawings, which is another fan, asks, "What is your least favorite jam to make?"
Oh, that's that a traffic jam.
Uh, what's your least
I
favorite kind of fruit jam to make?
All right, I'm gonna say orange marmalade because it you have to in order to make it taste right, you have to have pieces of orange peel in there, and it takes a while to grate the orange peel. Um, and it just is it's hard to make.
Yeah, I think I remember asking you to make some orange marmalade in the past, and you were just like no because it was hard or something.
It just takes a long time and it takes a lot of oranges. It I would make it again. Um, a certain someone that I live with that is not Rebel Donut dislikes it as well. So that's another reason
Oh
that I haven't.
no, father pastry.
Father Pastry is a marmalade hater.
Oh man. But I'm gonna go ahead and ask this in a different way. This is an already asked question, but in terms of flavor, what is your favorite jam to make?
Strawberry rhubarb. It takes me back. I like it. I don't like super sweet things, and a lot of my jams end up being sweet, which is kind of the point. But but
Wow.
but strawberry rhubarb has it's a little tart. So I personally like a little tartness.
Your strawberry rhubarb's pretty good. You can also make pie out of strawberry rhubarb.
I do. I make pies, but that would be a whole other hobby.
Episode. That'd be a whole other episode. Um, I think the fans would be up for it though. But that's beside the point. Have you ever had any train wreck combinations of fruits that you put in jams? Do you understand
I,
the question?
I do. I understand the question. I can. I've had ones I didn't like as much. It's usually just combination of berries, but nothing that's been hideous to eat. Your dad has mentioned I should try watermelon jam.
How does
Um,
how does one even do that?
I don't think it's a thing. I think he's trying to punk me.
I'm trying to figure that one out. How does one make a how does one make jam out of watermelon?
I think there's too much water in a watermelon, which makes sense.
There's not
Um,
enough melon. Wait,
yep.
do you think a watermelon jelly would make sense? Or do you think that'd be possible?
Oh, oh my! Father Pastry is googling it. He has seen a picture of watermelon and recipes apparently. So I guess that is the thing. I
Oh
guess you could
man.
take a vote. You could take a vote with your um, donut batch about whether anyone thinks that even trying watermelon jam is a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, I have a way to do a poll with the general channel, and I also have a way to do a poll with the stream,
That
but
is
this would be more of a stream poll. I just would need to type it up. I'm gonna say, is watermelon jelly a good idea? Is
I did
watermelon
try. Yeah.
jelly a good idea? It sounds like a silly question, but honestly, I think The fans are pretty used to silly questions. After all, they kind of have to, or they don't have to, but they literally deal with me every episode. But yeah. So I know the answer to this question, but what is the difference between jelly and jam?
Well, I mean, jelly's thinner and it doesn't have big chunks of fruit in it. Jam is thicker and has more fruit in it. And usually jelly is made from the juices of a fruit, not from the actual fruit. It depends on how people define jelly.
So it's kind of like a spectrum instead of just like a is instead of a yes or no thing. Interesting.
Oh, I remembered a train wreck. It's not really jam, but I did try to make like a chutney and it really didn't turn out that well.
Would you consider chutney jam?
It can be. Sometimes chutney is just the fruit and the spices, but the one I was trying to make, I was trying to make it kind of like a jelly chutney. It just didn't work. I just had the wrong combinations of everything in there.
So, as. Alright, not everyone's gonna know what chutney is. So, please explain.
Well, there's a lot of different kinds, but chutney is chopped up fruit and then there's often like some heat in there, like jalapenos or some kind of spice, um, heat spice, and then there's fragrant spices, maybe cinnamon, nutmeg. There's not really sugar, or if there is, it's only a little bit, and it's kind of a slightly sweet, spicy mass that has a little bit of jelly or jam in it. Like it looks kind of like that, and you put it on the side of your plate and you eat it with certain kinds of meats or curry dishes.
Oh. So, according to Mighty Geek Studios, chutney is more of a glaze. Is that accurate?
Oh, I don't know. It depends. I mean, I've seen chutneys that look more like are all smooth that you could put. Um, but the chutneys I'm thinking of are kind of chunky. They have raisins and apples or mangoes.
Mangoes. I would, if there wasn't jalapenos in there, then I would have totally loved mango chutney.
Yeah.
Just the concept, like, I'm gonna go on a random tangent, but not really. This is kind of on topic, but, I don't think, mango and jalapenos mix. Or fruit and heat does not mix, in my opinion.
I think it depends on what you're having it with. When I was trying to do it, I'd had it, I don't know where, like an Indian restaurant or something, and I really liked it. But when I tried to do it, I just couldn't quite get it good enough that I was happy with.
Yeah, so, do you want to hear the results of so far as to, is watermelon jelly a good idea?
Yes, I would love to hear what the dinner
So
cards
with
think.
4 votes, it is 75% say yes and 25% say no.
Oh, Papa Pastry is over here laughing his bum off because that means he thinks that means he's getting some.
Yeah, you better give me some too. But yeah, I'm gonna double check to see if there's any more questions from the batch. But oh, I'm gonna go ahead and re-ask this like I did with the favorite one. But what's your least favorite jam to make as far as flavor goes?
Probably probably blueberry, which I know is an unpopular thing that I just said because other people really like blueberry.
What? Why?
I don't know. I just
And
like my blue. I don't know.
um and before you say because you asked me, I technically did ask you, but I'm technically getting like to making sure that my fans' questions are getting answered in as many ways as possible, I guess. But way to go. You made my fans leave. Just kidding. Or kind of. Maybe they left on their own. But and I was the one that asked you to do the blueberry jam.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's not horrible. It just wasn't. Yeah, it's one of my least favorites.
Yeah, but everyone else seems to like it though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so your favorite one to make is blueberry. What's your least favorite one to make? I forgot if I already asked you this.
Oh, my favorite one to make is peach. My least favorite was blueberry.
Oh, what's the hardest one to make?
Strawberry rhubarb.
Oh yeah, that's the one that was the answer to my other question. This is my newer show out of the two shows I do. So yeah. Let's see here. Have you ever burned your jam?
Oh, yeah. That's really sad when it happens. I burned it a couple of times.
Hmm.
You
Um,
almost can't save it. Once you burn it, if you realize it, if you realize the bottom is burnt of the pan before early, then you can move the jam into another pan and maybe save it. But if you've already mixed the burn in, that's going down the trash can.
how can you tell if you're burning jam?
Well, one, it could smell like burned sugar. Two is you'll see little pieces of like black or brown stuff floating in your jam.
And then any other ways to tell if it's burned?
Well, it'll stick. It'll be your spoon and the bottom of the pan. It'll feel like kind of hard at the bottom. Um, so you'll know you burned it. What you can't do is walk away from your jam. You need to stay there and stir it. And that I actually should have said that was one of the things I also don't like about it. You have to stir it constantly as you're cooking it. So that takes a while.
Yeah, that's understandable. How it takes a while. You want to know not the jam making isn't the only hobby that takes forever. But yeah, I digress. Does certain flavors take longer than others?
Plum plum takes a long time because plums are not they're really not as juicy. So it takes longer for it to cook down, and I have to dice the plums pretty fine. And there's peels on the plums, and that helps get the color and the flavor. So it just takes probably twice as long as peach or strawberry.
What's the quickest to make?
Um, Probably strawberry.
Gotta love some strawberry jam. When you say
Yeah.
you've given it to others, have you ever gotten any complaints about it at all?
No, I haven't actually. That's a good question.
Um, have you ever j- jarred something and then end up figuring out later it was burned?
No, I always knew before I started putting it in jars.
And then Mighty Geek Studios asks, What is your thoughts on strawberry marmalade? Is strawberry marmalade a thing?
I guess you could put I guess it could be strawberry jelly, but have either some lemon or lime peel or orange peel in it. Huh. That's something to think about.
Oh man. I have a feeling that this Christmas is going to be very interesting on the different types of flavored jam I'm going to get because of this stream.
Yeah, I wish it would be cool if we could give out like samples during the stream because it's kind of
the thing is
probably
that
making some people hungry.
we would have to go ahead and go to a convention and have fans actually see my face for that.
True.
And speaking of fans, do you want to hear how many people now say that watermelon jelly is a good idea?
Yes, I want to revote. What are they saying now?
Do you want to guess, or do you want to or do you want me to just say it?
I'm gonna say that the tide's turning in my favor. 60% think it's a good idea.
60%? That would have been lower than what it was.
That's my agenda.
Oh man. But 83 wait, with 6 votes, 83% say yes and 17% say no.
Come on, guys. It sounds like it's not going to be fun to make. I want more on my side. More on team yuck.
Wait, can I vote on this thing? No, I can't.
I would try to vote, but Papa Pastry and I would cancel each other out, so it's pretty much not worth
Father
worth the
Pastry?
vote.
Okay, we're probably going to have like 12 different names for the guy.
I don't know. I just make it up as I go. Papa Pastry, Daddy Donut.
Wait, I thought Papa Pastry was a granddad.
See, that's where I get confused. But he'd eat any kind of jam. He doesn't really. He's pretty non-discriminatory when it comes to food.
Yeah, that's understandable. But yeah, so now now tell me if this is a bad idea, but watermelon marmalade.
Stop the madness. No. If you make it watermelon marmalade chutney, then it's my worst nightmare.
Okay. But then again, think about this. This is your hobby, which means you can decide what you make.
That's true, but I usually don't make it. I actually made some jam while you've been otherwise not hanging with me so much, and I didn't even taste it.
Man, why don't you taste it?
I'm doing a low carb diet. I can't have sugar.
You want to know something? I would like to know if something's gonna be a disaster before it'd be in my fridge.
Well, Daddy Donut is still walking around just fine and seems to have consumed half of a jar.
Half of a jar?
It was plum.
Okay. All right. No wonder you asked me which one I wanted. Oh man. Wow, you are very tricky. I think my base finally figured out why I am the way I am somewhat.
Oh, so when are you gonna have are you gonna have your Daddy Donut or Papa Pastry?
I asked him and he didn't take it on from there. But I'll figure it out off air. But so let's see here. So it's a family trait that you so did you say that your grandparents made it?
Yeah, my grandmother. I learned how to make jam and pies And actually homemade candy, but I digress.
Think you're gonna ever make any um homemade candy?
Well, we would need several strong, um, dedicated candy assistants because it was a molasses candy called Slapjack and it has to be pulled. So there needs to be people that are willing to put butter on their hands, hold hot molasses ball and pull it.
That
Yeah,
sounds like
it's not fun.
that sounds like a slippery situation.
Yeah. How
But
do you think I burned my hands the first time?
um man, that's a loaded question. But yeah, how often do you get burned while doing jam?
Probably every 3 to 4 times I make it. So that would be mm, several times a year.
So like once a year ish?
I'd say 2 to 3. I
No,
probably make,
I mean like burning your hands.
oh, well, no, you didn't say that. You said burning because sometimes it jumps out like as
Oh,
you're stirring it.
oh right.
It,
Yeah, I did say burning.
burn.
Whoops.
Yeah. Burning my hands. Oh, once a year. It's usually with the hot jars, not so much with the hot jam.
Hmm. Um, the base does not know about this, but you burn stuff other than jam.
Yeah.
Almost burnt the house down. Which wait, I'm gonna end this poll and ask my fan base if they want me to go ahead and do if they want me to go ahead and do for this Christmas season, do the story of the time that the whole house ended up lighting or not lighting on fire, but like there was Christmas Eve and you almost burnt the house down.
Yeah. The whole kitchen was filled with smoke, but that's just a teaser. More for another time.
Yeah, I would probably end up animating it with your permission, of course.
It would be funnier, probably, as an animation.
Yeah, I'm not. I most generally don't storytell on like streams because it's like, oh, I gotta go ahead and save this one for a video most of the time. But yeah, sorry for that side tangent, but yeah. Is there any combinations that you have never tried before and that you want to try?
I'm thinking about that. I would like to. I don't know. I mean, I definitely am open to trying new combinations, and apparently, I'm going to get guilted into making watermelon jam. Um, but I really can't think of any combinations that I've made all the jams, the flavors that I like, and the flavors that I've been curious about. But I would do special request jam
Special
once
request
in a blue moon.
jam. Have you ever tried to do um strawberry and blueberry and rhubarb?
I've done strawberry and blueberry, and I've done strawberry, blueberry, and other berries, and I've never put rhubarb. I've had rhubarb and raspberry, but I've never put blueberry, strawberry, and rhubarb together.
Raspberries. uh have you ever done only raspberry jam?
Yes, it was a really long time ago. Now raspberries are too expensive to make it worth it. But do you remember going to the berry patch farms and picking berries with the neighbors?
Oh yeah. I remember that.
So yeah, then that's when I made raspberry only.
Okay. I remember the golden raspberries and the like regular raspberries.
Yeah, we pretty much ate the golden ones. They didn't make the jam cut because they were too good. But
Did I
I
like the
did.
golden ones?
You did, and you were a menace. You kept eating them off the bush, like as you're picking them.
Hmm. Let's see here. So, one vote for yes on that Christmas special.
So maybe it could be like if you guys get really bored and you need a stream topic or poll, it could be like, a unanimous one random jam.
Oh yeah. Um, but the thing is that if I were to do that, and if the base ends up really hating me, then I'd have to go ahead and deal with it in real life. But the base don't hate me. But still.
Mhm.
And this is the day that my fans will learn that I do not like raspberries.
Yeah.
Now I have a question. So like I've mentioned this on the channel actually, but yeah, have you ever put artificial sugar in your jam? Please don't put aspartame. I am intolerant to it for IRL reasons.
So I have not because I am a purist that way. I don't make I don't make jam for myself to eat, even though it does taste good. I make it for other people, and I just think that artificial sweeteners in jams, I just don't like that. It seems wrong. So I just don't eat jam if I'm um dieting, which is sadly what I'm doing now.
Yeah, that's understandable. But yeah, so um do you think fruit punch jam would be possible?
Well, that's what I think anything, almost any kind of fruit jam is possible. That would be like playing around with different fruits and seeing what tastes like the most like fruit punch.
Hmm.
But I think it's cherries and apples, but apples aren't like sweet enough. It would have to be like a jelly, maybe a fruit punch jelly, like with apple juice, some cherries. Um, that would probably be the closest to fruit punch.
Yeah, if you really want me to do this, Mama Pastry, there thanks to my 514 now donut batch members, I now have this thing called the community tab. So um of course like this month that community tab is populated with Inktober stuff, but maybe next month I could go ahead and see what my donut batch thinks would be a good idea for a combination.
Okay,
If
if
you
you want to,
want.
I could do that.
But
I don't
yeah,
mind. I could do it. I got
um
plenty of time on my hands
then
in the
again,
in on
remember, this is your hobby, so you're allowed to deny making whatever you want.
yeah, like so let's say for sake of argument, if it was like a cat food suspended in jam, I would say no.
Uh, I would probably say please be serious with this one.
Ah, okay.
But yeah,
I just wanted to put some ground rules out there because God knows what a donut batch is going to come up with.
yeah, I wouldn't be concerned about my fan base, but there's some fan bases that'd probably be very concerned about that. And then Mighty Geek Studios asks, have you ever made a strawberry banana jam?
I have not because I'm afraid of what it would look like because bananas like get brown and stuff.
Yeah, that's
I,
understandable. Um, I'm kind of surprised you didn't say like um that once you put banana in something, it's a banana flavored, not like there's a meme out there and just like it this is true, but with the banana smoothie, if you go ahead and no matter what else you have in there, if it has banana in it, then it's a banana smoothie.
Oh, exactly.
like,
I feel, yeah.
like kind of on topic, but like if you try to put banana on anything, in anything, it's just gonna turn into banana flavored whatever at that point.
No, I agree. I made banana almond quick oats, the ones overnight oats you put in the fridge, oats and almond butter and almond coconut milk and blueberries. And then I decided I should put banana in it the next day. The banana was the wrong decision. It was too much going on then.
Too much banana.
Too much banana. It just wasn't balanced anymore.
Yeah, no matter how much banana you put in, if you put in banana, then it turns into banana flavored whatever you're eating. But yeah, I digress. So I know that this is a jam making episode, but I'm gonna go because this is my show. I'm gonna go more into like canning things in general. Um and salsa, like have you ever tried making salsa?
Oh, I have. I have. I made it I think twice. It's not I liked it, but I didn't love it. So the first batch didn't have quite enough onion, and the next batch had too much onion, and I didn't have the right amount of spice. But I would do that again.
Too much onion? Is that even possible?
It was red onion. Red onion can be crazy at times, really strong.
You've seen how I eat my burgers.
Yes, pastry can have a burger or a piece of chicken and a wedge of onion and
Oh, what?
be
Yeah.
complete. Yeah, it's like a big slice of onion. Like imagine a big red or white or yellow onion that's like a quarter to a half an inch thick, a slice.
Uh,
That's the way pastry will roll. It's quite, and it
pastry?
wasn't even,
The pastry will roll? No pun
yep, but
intended there. But yeah, so, have you ever considered applesauce?
I used to actually, I made applesauce with my grandmother. We had crab apples. They were like these smaller apples that would grow on a tree in her backyard, and had to pick a lot of them. And then, yeah, we definitely made applesauce. It was fun. It just took all day, because you got to cook the apples, then you got to mush the apples. You have to add sugar, but it's good.
Yeah, so you have made applesauce. What else do you
Yeah.
think would be in the family of, stuff like jam, jelly, oh, what kind of jellies have you made?
I made grape once. I wasn't. It didn't. I made grape. And it was like the seedless grapes in the grocery store, and it just wasn't. It was just kind of blah. It just wasn't the right kind of grape. That was a fail. Now that you mention it, um, I did make marmalade once, and like I said, I wouldn't want to do that again unless I just was feeling really, really, really nice.
Really,
Um,
really, really nice, or you were really, really, really bored?
yeah, I don't think I get quite that bored. But I guess I don't know. I guess I could do it one more time.
Oh, hey, I hear a
Um,
donut.
yeah. Oh, cherry jelly. I made that before.
Um, how hard was that?
It was pretty good.
How hard was it to make?
Um, well, I think like anything, it's how you get where you get the cherries from. It was when I was living back east. Um, and there were just a lot of it was easy and affordable to get cherries. Where I currently reside, there's no real cherries, so it's expensive.
So, yeah. Um, cherries are very expensive in Colorado.
Right.
But yeah, do you think this is gonna be a interesting question, but Do you think jam tastes different when you make it in different at a different altitude? Or do you cook it differently at a different altitude? How does out
I
Yes.
I could okay, so altitude it will take longer for it to boil. So it doesn't taste different, but it does take longer. And you,
Understandable.
and you have to boil. I should have said this earlier, but there's a multi-step process. You have to um, boil the fruit with the pectin, which is what is apple pectin is usually what I use, which is the stuff that's a powder that you can get in the grocery store. And that is what makes it gel. And then you add the sugar. So you have to get it to a really fast boil with the fruit and the pectin. And then you have to add an insane amount of sugar. Most batches of jam have between 5 and 8 cups of sugar. And then you have to boil that again, and it just takes a long time, especially at altitude.
Yeah, that's understandable. So, why don't you go ahead and go more on the process?
Well, okay. So when you, well, first of all, you have to make sure you have the right amount. So most of the jam recipes have either a certain number of pounds of the fruit or a certain number of cups of the fruit. And it depends on whether the fruit has a lot of juice naturally, like a berry or a peach, versus a harder fruit like a plum that has. So if it's a hard fruit, then you have to dice it up into smaller pieces, and then usually add a little water to get it to break down on the stove and cook it. If it's like a berry or another soft fruit, you want to take a certain amount of the berries and put them in like a blender, or I use a Ninja. It's like a Ninja smoothie maker, just to get half my fruit into juice, and the other half I leave as chunks because I like some chunks in my jam.
That's the
Then
difference between jam and jelly, right?
that yeah, that, and usually how yeah, usually for the most part. So I think jam and jelly have the recipes are a little different, so there's certain amount of sugar difference too. And I think with jelly you sometimes put water in, but it depends on the fruit. But oh, you can do freezer jam too, but that's a whole other discussion. I don't
Oh,
really like that much.
freezer jam. Is it basically where you go ahead and put go ahead and this is gonna be only for entertainment purposes, but is that basically where you make jam in the freezer?
Well, kind of, sorta. The differences are you don't use a canner. You usually use like some kind of plastic jelly or jam holder, and you don't have to use the peck. It's no stir. You don't have to like stir it for a half an hour on the stove and let it thicken. You use like a quick pectin with the fruit and the juice and the sugar, and then you let it set in the freezer.
Does now this might sound like a dumb question, but once you make it in the freezer, does it have to stay in the freezer until you eat it?
Yeah, it stays in the freezer until you eat it. But when you take it out of the freezer, you put it in the fridge. I think it's usually thinner than than the canned jam, but it it tastes good. It's just I don't like it as much.
Yeah, would you say it's quicker than the normal
Yeah,
jam?
yeah, it's quicker. It's much quicker. Yeah,
It's much quicker. And then
yeah.
yeah. Um have you ever made it? I know you mentioned on how to make it. Have you ever made it?
I made it once, and I was kind of disappointed because it wasn't nearly as good as the regular jam. So I decided I wasn't going to do that again.
So is it better to make um a jam batch with all big jars, all small jars, or a combination?
That is a good question. It depends if you're giving them. I like to use I think they're 4 ounce jars. They actually are called jelly jars. They are like, they're usually a kind of a prettier jar and you get more of them because there's less. And then they're the perfect size to give out for gifts. The really small jars, like your 2 ounces, are really tiny. I just think that's only a couple of biscuits worth of jam, so I don't think that's really worth it.
Or I mean, in my situation, pancakes, I guess technically.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I digress. But yeah, I put jam on the pancakes I get for my real obligation. Um,
oh,
that's how I manage to eat it. I'm like, I'm not gonna be silly and just take a jar of jam to breakfast when where I have breakfast already has jam or jelly. They have like grape jelly or something. I would feel really silly doing that. But
yeah.
might as well take the breakfast to the jam at that point. But yeah, anyway, so have you ever not had a good time while making jam?
Yeah. When there's been a couple of times I invited friends and others to come over and help because they wanted to learn how to make jam. And I was happy to show them, but they wanted to sit there at the table and talk and eat, but there wasn't much help in the jam making. So,
At that point, it's just you making it.
right. And I was making like 3 batches, and like I said, I was happy to show them. I was happy to, feed everyone lunch. I was happy to have my friends over. If I'm going to make 3 batches of jam, which is somewhere between probably 24 to 36 jars, depending on the size of the jars, if they're small jars. That's a lot of jam. And I needed choppers and stirrers. Eventually I got people to help chop, but no one wanted to be at the stove stirring it for half an hour a batch.
Oh,
so that was the rate
I
limiting
think
step.
I know which incident you're talking about, and I think I ended up stirring for half of that time.
You did. You and one other stirred. The others were non-participators in the stirring. But eventually the jam was made and it was good, and people have actually went back to their own homes and made jam with their own families. So it was successful. It just wasn't fun
So this is more
at the time.
emphasis on one of my original questions, which was, would you recommend it to others?
Yeah. I would, and I've taught others, and you've been there for some of that.
Yeah.
And I would do it again. It's just, I wouldn't, if I was going to teach again, I'd just keep a small, like I wouldn't be making the quantity that were made that day because it was just a lot. It was a lot.
How many
And
batches have you made at once?
I think that day we might have made 4 or 5 by the end. And I know people left and I finished like that last 1 or 2 batches because we had.
I was even tired at that point.
You were, everyone, and I was actually at that point glad because my kitchen is not huge. So I was, after having, I don't know, 8 or 9 people in the kitchen, it became tiresome after about 4 hours of that.
Yeah.
So just keeping it real.
In any kitchen, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's where they got "too many cooks in the kitchen" phrase from.
Yep, exactly. There's a reason for almost any rule or phrase. It might not be a good well, there's a reason. You might not agree with the rule or the phrase, but there is someone that started it.
Yeah, that's honestly very true. Has anyone ever stirred trouble while stirring jam?
Oh, but I like that. I can, yeah.
That was more of a like a pun than a question.
Yep, there's a lot. People can stir up lots of trouble when they're stirring things.
Have you ever spilled a large quantity of jam?
I've spilled like probably I don't know, probably like half a jar before, and it does upset you because it takes so long to make it. But I've never spilled like a whole pot of jam.
Yeah. Um must must be because I haven't been there to go ahead and trip over my own foot.
Right.
I'm very
Oh,
clumsy.
I I am too, so that is genetic, I have to say.
Man, I tend to make that joke a lot. Like I'll trip over my own foot.
I'll trip up the stairs, and I've done it before
Eh.
many times.
Is there an improper way to stir jam? Or
Yeah,
no,
too slow.
let's go ahead and just broaden that question to um is there an improper way to make jam in general?
Well, I'm going to answer both of those questions with someone that won't stir it fast enough. It's going to burn on the bottom, stick on the bottom. And if it sticks on the bottom and you don't catch it in time with your spoon, then it can burn. So that's one way. Another way is putting too much fruit in, like trying to put a double batch, trying to make a double batch and not have like a big enough saucepan. And then you're going to be putting a lot of sugar in, and then it can boil over. And I've had that happen. And that's a mess. And that's the whole sticky stove situation. Lastly is you can rush it and don't like don't let like have it boil but not boil enough, and then the pectin won't thicken, and then you end up having your jam doesn't set, and then you end up having pancake syrup, which would
I've
actually work for you now.
I've had your pancake syrup again, or I've had it before and I'll have it again.
Right.
Wait, no, I think that was ice cream sauce that one
Yeah,
time.
it was strawberry, I remember, and I was like, wow, this I was upset it didn't set. But I was like, well, I guess we're gonna have ice cream sauce and pancake syrup and whatever else yummy sweet strawberry um, sauce is good on.
Yeah, I think it was strawberry rhubarb sauce or triple berry sauce. The instant I remember.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think that the one you're talking about was the last time I it didn't set. It's been a number of years.
And you were very upset, but I'm like, hey, at least it's sauce.
Yeah, it didn't get thrown away.
No, it did not, unless into my mouth and into my stomach is considered throwing it away. But yeah, now this is a very last question, or like this is a question that I think of when I don't have any other questions to ask. If you were me, what would you ask yourself? If you were the interviewer, what would you ask yourself?
How do I get on your list of people you send jam to?
Kind of hard to do that because you don't even know. And thank goodness to Mama Pastry for this, but you guys don't even know my real name.
Exactly. Oh, well, as a generic interviewer, I don't know. I think honestly, Pastry, you have hit every question, and your donut batch has asked some great questions. And I have actually surprised that I'm able to fill an hour, more than an hour now, an hour and maybe 10 or 15 minutes talking just about jam. So
Honestly,
I'm going to say well done.
yeah, honestly, um, some hobbies take longer to explain than others. Like, I'm planning on, like, I don't know with who yet because this is going to be this is going to be like whoever asks to do this. But, so someone's going to do a reverse question or a reverse with, they get this sheet and they ask me about a hobby I do.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's neither here nor there. why don't you go ahead and tell about like specific stories about like other things that you have canned other than jam.
Um,
Hopefully you can do that.
I had to, I can do that for show. I have spent more summer Sunday afternoons when I was a young person in my mom's kitchen, helping her can peaches and tomatoes. Tomatoes, I can't believe we had those many tomatoes. I mean, it was like baskets of tomatoes. And then it just seemed like that's all we did, like all day. Because you have to essentially take the core out of the tomato. And then it depends if we were doing usually stewed tomatoes. So we had to heat the boiling water and then pour them over the tomatoes and then pour the water off and then take the skin off. So you have skinless tomatoes. And then my job was to crush them in my hand as I'm putting them in the jar and put as many in the jar as would fit. And then my mom would put in a mixture of like salt, pepper, dried onions, and whatever else she put in there. And then they go in the canner. And then we do the next 8 jars. And it just seemed like it was all day long. Although looking back, I wish I could have fresh canned tomatoes now. So.
So here's another random question that just popped in my mind, which was most of the questions asked here today. But what's all the different types of things you've canned?
Peaches, green beans,
Like
tomatoes.
canned as in like a including things you make like jam and tomato sauce.
Yeah, I've done tomato sauce, like kind of more like a pasta sauce. I've done, of course, all the different types of jams. I've done green beans. It's kind of like a pickled green bean and wax beans, which are the yellow beans. Um, Tomatoes, peaches. I think we did plums, but that was like once. It wasn't like often. And salsa. Um, oh, your other grandma. I was I didn't do it myself, but I was involved ish in she canned beef. She canned canned meat.
What?
Um,
Okay. Oh man.
yeah, I don't recommend that to anyone.
There's. Oh man.
It was like chopped beef, like from Costco, like a whole bunch of like diced beef. Um, she wanted to make canned meat. I guess it was something she had as a young person.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Um. I think this like not because of like anything in particular, but I think this is one of the first times I've actually mentioned my grandparents on air. But yeah.
yeah,
It's probably um they're probably gonna be a series in themselves. But
yeah.
yeah.
There's hours worth of actual entertainment there. But
Okay.
I digress. Back to
Yeah.
canning. Um,
Can we go
um,
ahead and get back on topic?
my mom and I did can some pickles. I don't know. They were okay. Well, actually, it's cucumbers that become pickles. Oh, pickled beets. I forgot. Pickled beets. That was big. Yeah. They were so yummy. And I wish I should probably do that, especially whenever you visit.
What a way to make me want to work on videos instead. I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm. You better bet I'm going back home for IRL obligation this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh man. Uh, No offense, but if if you end up trying to give me a jar of pickled beets, I would probably go ahead and ding dong ditch it to a neighbor.
Well, I wouldn't waste my beets that way. You know, good pickled beets need to be appreciated. I wouldn't want to send them with a beet hater.
Yeah. Um I think just for the sake of it, if I ever run out of ideas, then I'm definitely gonna make. If I ever run out of better ideas, then I guess I can always make a video on beats.
Yeah, there's a couple of good beet stories there.
Hmm.
By the way, the beets in the garden are not very big. They're not really wanting to produce. I don't know. I'm very disappointed. I was hoping to have big, beautiful beets
Sounds like
that I
we're
could
gonna.
taunt you with.
Sounds like we're gonna have you on another episode in the future to come. That's what it sounds like
Really?
to me.
Ah,
Um, unless I get huge backlash from my fans being like, "You better not do this again." But then again, they ended up liking. They ended up actually liking the top 10 things moms say. I think we actually did a really good job on that one, honestly.
that was fun. I actually like that. So, just out of my last question to my interviewer is, how many of the donut batch stayed around for all the jam, or did are we talking to ourselves at this point, or
Um,
people still interested about canning and jamming?
just so you know, as far as the donut batch comes, they come when they have time. They come when they have time, and if they have to leave for another reason, then they go ahead and hop off and just hop back on. And a popular thing, which you would probably be surprised, but there's actually like a good chunk of the batch that can't make it on live, so they go ahead and watch after the fact too. That's why I
Oh,
said
that's
like
kind of cool.
that's why I was like clarifying the crap out of some questions. Um this I think this show is like more is an easier like to watch after the fact than audio games, but they are both like I make it both um so that both shows can be watched after the fact. But yeah, it's just a good way to go ahead and not make fans feel bad if I happen to stream at their 1 a.m. But to be fair, no matter when I choose to stream, I'm gonna be um streaming during somebody's 1 a.m.
I mean, that makes sense, and kind of the drop in when you can or listen when you can. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's a like a very listen when you can basis. When you can.
Ba-dum-bum.
Oh, man. Um, I feel like with all the can jokes, we might get canceled for this.
They should cancel me because I am like having bad puns is my jam.
um, I've done stuff like this on the channel before, like bad puns. Imagine if they canceled you for the fact that Rebellious Pastry, the channel, was a uh, just kidding. But yeah, I need to find that top 10 things moms say. Tell. I can't freaking talk sometimes, but top 10 things moms say. But yeah, so, um, can we go back to questions about the topic at hand? Let's see here. But this is just a very like natural thing to do, like just go off on random side tangents. That's how I manage to get shows going for 2 hours. But yeah, um, what other questions do I have? So you've made applesauce, you've made ranchero sauce, you've made green chili. You've made what else?
Spaghetti sauce.
Spaghetti sauce. What
I guess
else?
that's pasta sauce.
Out of everything you've ever canned, what is your most favorite thing to make out of all the things you can? Can as in like actually canning it.
Yeah, I'm thinking green chili. I really really love green chili.
I love green chili too. You want to know what a microwave that I have would be very useful for?
What?
Warming up green chili.
I was waiting for that.
How long into the show do you how long did you think it would take did you think it would take me to go ahead and um ask that question?
I was surprised it took this long. I know another thing that could be canned would be stew.
I did not think about that. But yeah, to be fair, all the canned like soups was like canned ingredients I've seen and I've sold, which that's definitely content for another video. Um oh man. How many different ideas does it Yeah, I swear. If I was gonna have you help me with scripts all the time, I literally wouldn't have time to animate anything.
Yeah, I could definitely be thought of as not so much of a help, but more of a liability at times.
Oh man. I'm just imagining like the base does not know this, but sometimes I fry my brain with how many ideas I have for a video. But I would it would even deep fat fry me more to go ahead and have you write my scripts. Other than that, top 10 things moms say.
Yeah, my head is very full of useless information, pretty
Yeah.
much.
My mind is probably more filled with kind of practical information, like how they animate. But yeah, so since we don't have any more else to say, I have one final question for you, which I should probably add to my show list. But how does it feel being on stream?
Um, I actually am. I like it more than I thought I would. I was really kind of nervous because I don't like. I really don't like being on camera. But the fact that I'm not on camera makes it better.
No camera, no
And
problem.
right. So yeah, and I honestly I didn't think I'd be able to talk about jam this long. So I it's been fun.
Yeah, my
I've been in.
foot is asleep right now.
Right. My bars on my phone are getting very very low.
Oh,
So
you called me from your phone?
yeah, I'm on the phone on Duo, so
Yeah, that's
that
understandable.
yeah.
I just like to go ahead and make it easy um, for whoever gets on show with me to get on show with me. So, Duo's definitely a good source of getting people on stuff. But yeah, since I do have another IRL obligation that I am kind of annoyed about, um, I was thinking about like ending it early, the show early, but I didn't want to cut time away from anybody. So I would have just, if not, then I would have just ended up just taking my dinner to go.
All right.
But
Well, I'm fine with wrapping it up, pastry. It's been fun.
so closing announcements. So I normally say, do you have any like YouTube channel or anything that you would like to share with the base? But I feel like if you were to share anything you have, then the base would know exactly what I look like, and I would not want that to happen.
That's fair. That's fair. I think
So
I've tried to do my best not to expose too much information about your IRL
obligations. But yeah,
obligations.
so I normally say share any links you have, but for you, um, at that point, people would know too much about me. So, yeah, if you have like a business account, which crap, I should go ahead and ask you this question. Do you think you would ever like start a brand with your jelly or jams? Jams?
No, because I enjoy doing it too much, and I think if I was doing it for like profit, it wouldn't be as fun. It wouldn't relax me anymore. So
Hmm.
no.
Understandable. But yeah, I can't believe I almost forgot that question. Man, I sometimes even surprise myself. We both forgot that question. What's wrong with us? But yeah,
All
honestly,
jammed up.
this show, there's been some instances where I've tried to end it with like back when I didn't have designated times. I would like try to end it like 5 times, but be like, no, I'm not gonna end it yet. Oh man, there's been some times where Mama Pastry had to literally tell me that dinner was ready for me to just like hop off air. But that's a time for that would probably be a video's worth of story. But yeah, so um please make sure to go ahead and one more question. Oh, or wait, two more questions. One of them's actually about the show, and one of them is about ending the show. So my question about the show is: do you think you would ever go ahead and do sell jam under a different let's say let's say a business wanted to go ahead and partner with you one day?
If it's a good enough offer, I'd consider it.
Alrighty. Imagine if I just slapped my brand all over your stuff and sold um it sold like hot cakes. But that's just me more joking around. But then again, be careful, joke about too much and it might become a reality. We're just going to see how things go and my 514 people go. But yeah, do you have any closing announcements?
No, I just want to thank everyone for hanging in there with my jam, and it's been great being on stream today.
Do you have
Jam out.
do you have an outro?
No.
Had a feeling you wouldn't. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching. I platonically love you, my donut batch, and see you in the future to come. Bye.